Welcome back, and if you're new, welcome. Before we begin, do me a favor, hit subscribe, like and drop a comment about where you are watching from and your thought on this story. Interesting Afro-Korean story. Please watch till the end. The blade slices through the air, missing Adanna's throat by inches. She gasps, stumbling backward as rain hammers against the windows of the Kim fortress in Seoul. Her heart pounds like a war drum. This isn't how she imagined tonight would end. "You made a mistake coming here," Min-jae Kim whispers, his voice smooth as poison. The pocket knife gleams in his hand, cold steel catching the dim light. "I won't let you go easily. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's rewind 24 hours, to when Adanna Okafor's world still made sense." If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because this dark Afro-Korean romance is about to get intense. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. The Okafor estate in Gangnam buzzes with controlled chaos. Tomorrow, Adanna's sister Chisom marries Min-jae Kim, heir to the most dangerous Korean crime family in Seoul. It's supposed to be a union of power, a carefully constructed deal built on decades of violence and bloodshed between the Nigerian and Korean underworlds. Peace wrapped in white lace and lies. Adanna sits in her room, a forgotten daughter in a house that only values the perfect ones. She closes her book and rises from the velvet chair, needing air, needing to escape the suffocating weight of tomorrow. The marble corridors feel like a tomb tonight. She passes her father's study. The smell of expensive cigars and leather seeps from behind the heavy door, mixed with something else. Screams. Muffled, wet, desperate. Chief Okafor tortures a traitor tonight, the way he does most nights. The estate's heartbeat pulses with violence, always has, always will. Adanna keeps walking, her footsteps silent. She's learned how to move like a ghost in this house. In the kitchen, she hears voices. Her mother Ngozi and sister Chisom, locked in conversation about flower arrangements and seating charts. Adanna pauses just outside, her hand on the doorframe. "I want everything perfect," Chisom says, her voice light and airy. Tomorrow, Min-jae will see what he's gaining. A perfect bride for a perfect alliance. Adanna's chest tightens. She knows she shouldn't care. Min-jae Kim is spoken for, promised to her sister through contracts signed in blood. But the heart doesn't follow family politics, and hers has belonged to him since the night she first saw him 3 years ago at a family gathering. He'd looked at her then, just once, and she'd felt the world tilt. She slips away before they notice her, heading to the only place that makes sense anymore. The underground gym smells of leather and sweat and iron. Heavy bags sway slightly in the stale air. Mirrors line one wall, cracked from years of violence. This is where Adanna trains, where she becomes something more than the quiet, invisible daughter. Late as always, a smooth voice calls from the corner. Tund leans against the wall, arms crossed. He's her driver, her confidant, only a year older but infinitely more aware of how the world works. "You're early," Adanna replies, dropping her bag by the bench. She allows herself a small smile. He shrugs, pushing off the wall. "Had to make sure everything's ready for tomorrow. Your family doesn't tolerate mistakes." "Tomorrow," Adanna repeats, the word tasting bitter on her tongue. It feels like a death sentence dressed in silk. Tund's dark eyes study her face. "You still have feelings for him?" "It's not a question." Adanna's breath catches in her throat. "How do you know?" "You're terrible at hiding it," he says, stepping closer. "I've been around your family long enough to recognize longing when I see it." Adanna looks away, heat flooding her cheeks. "It doesn't matter what I feel. He's marrying Chisom. Min-jae Kim isn't someone you fall for, Adanna. Not if you want to keep breathing." Tund's voice carries a warning she chooses to ignore. She walks to the weapons wall, her hand hovering over the collection before closing around her favorite. A dagger with a blackened steel blade, engraved with the Okafor crest. Her uncle gave it to her on her 16th birthday, the same night she killed her first man. "I don't want to just survive anymore," she says quietly, unsheathing the blade. Tund watches her for a long moment. "Then don't." She turns to face him, rolling her shoulders. Fight me. He raises an eyebrow. You sure about that? Adanna's eyes narrow, the Okafor fire igniting inside her. Don't hold back, Tund. I need to feel something real. He takes a blade from the wall, twirls it once, and lunges. Steel meets steel with a sharp ring that echoes through the underground space. Adanna moves on instinct, parrying his strike and countering with one of her own. They circle each other like predators, each looking for weakness. Tund presses forward, fast and controlled. But Adanna's faster. She feints left, spins right, her blade slicing toward his ribs. He blocks it barely, and she sees the surprise flash in his eyes. You've been holding back in our other sessions, he says, breathing harder now. Maybe I wanted you to think that. She launches a flurry of strikes, each one more aggressive than the last. Tund stumbles backward, his defense crumbling. With one final swift kick, she sends him crashing against the padded wall, the air rushing from his lungs. Adanna presses her blade to his throat, chest heaving. Yield. He grins despite the cold steel against his skin. You win today. But don't get comfortable. Before Adanna can respond, the gym door creaks open. A housemaid stands in the doorway, her face pale and nervous. Miss Adanna, she says, voice trembling. Your mother requests your presence. Immediately. Adanna exchanges a glance with Tund. When Ngozi Okafor summons someone, it means business. She sheathes her dagger and follows the maid back through the cold marble corridors, ascending into the heart of the estate. Her mother stands in front of the grand mirror in her private chamber, adjusting a gold brooch on her traditional wrapper. Chisom lounges nearby, painting her nails blood red, barely acknowledging Adanna's presence. You sent for me, Adanna says. Ngozi turns slowly, her eyes calculating. Yes. I have a task for you. One that requires subtlety. Adanna stiffens slightly, waiting. Ngozi walks to an oak cabinet and unlocks a hidden compartment. From inside, she retrieves a sealed black envelope, thick and embossed with a blood-red crest. The Kim family crest. I need you to deliver this, her mother says, placing it in Adanna's hands. Comment below what you think is in that envelope, and don't forget to like this video if you're hooked. Adanna stares at the envelope, feeling its weight like a loaded gun. To whom? To Chairman Kim Jae-sung, Ngozi replies smoothly, pouring herself a drink. Unless you think I meant a street vendor. Adanna's eyes widen. You want me to go to the Kim compound? Her mother meets her gaze with ice-cold certainty. It's not a request. You're the only one who can go. They won't open their gates for just anyone. And they certainly don't let people walk out alive if they're not expected. A chill runs down Adanna's spine. The Kim Empire isn't just a house. It's a fortress soaked in secrets and blood. Whispers say the Kims control everything from Gangnam to Itaewon, their influence reaching into government halls and back alleys alike. Cross them, and you disappear. Her fingers curl tighter around the envelope. What's inside? Ngozi sips her drink slowly, deliberately. Something that needs to reach the chairman untouched. Chisom sighs dramatically from the couch, examining her freshly painted nails. Try not to get killed before my wedding, little sister. It would be so inconvenient. Adanna's jaw tightens. She turns toward the door without another word. Adanna, her mother calls out. She pauses at the threshold, not turning around. Keep your eyes open. The Kims may be our allies, but never forget they're still wolves. And we're the outsiders in their territory. Adanna nods once and leaves, the envelope burning against her palm. Tund waits by the black Genesis G90 in the courtyard, engine already running. Adanna slides into the back seat, clutching the envelope like it might explode. Because in a way, it could. One wrong move and the entire alliance between their families shatters. The Kim compound, she says quietly. Tund glances at her through the rearview mirror as he pulls away from the estate. What's this about? A delivery. Adanna stares out the window at the darkening Seoul sky. Storm clouds gather overhead, swollen and angry. My mother's orders. They drive in silence through Gangnam's gleaming streets, the neon lights gradually fading as they head toward the exclusive hills where old money hides. The landscape grows more isolated with each passing mile. High walls and security cameras replace the bustling city life. Don't talk too much in there, Tun says as they approach the compound. His voice carries an edge of genuine concern. If they ask questions in Korean, answer carefully. Keep your head up no matter who you face. You're not coming in? Adanna asks. Tun shakes his head. No one walks into the lion's den unless they're summoned. I'm not on that list. You are. The massive iron gates loom ahead, modern and imposing with electronic sensors and cameras at every angle. Armed guards in black suits flank the entrance, their faces expressionless, hands resting near concealed weapons. They don't smile, don't blink, don't show any hint of humanity. As the Genesis slows to a stop, one guard steps forward. He simply looks at the car, speaks into his earpiece, and within seconds, the gate buzzes. It slides open smoothly, like the jaws of some mechanical beast preparing to swallow her whole. Adanna steps out into the first drops of rain. The Kim estate towers above her, a perfect blend of traditional Korean architecture and modern fortress design. Curved tile roofs meet reinforced glass, stone walls accented with steel. It's beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. A man in a perfectly tailored black suit approaches. He bows slightly, the gesture respectful but cold. He doesn't introduce himself, doesn't speak. He simply holds out his hand. Adanna hesitates for only a moment before handing over the envelope. He studies it briefly, then slips it inside his coat with a curt nod. Chairman Kim is engaged, he says in accented English. You will wait. Of course he is, Adanna thinks. Men like Kim Jae-sung don't take casual meetings with messengers, especially not Nigerian ones. Thunder cracks overhead, loud and threatening. Within seconds, rain unleashes in torrents, turning the manicured gardens into a blur of water and darkness. The guard gestures sharply toward the entrance. This way. Quickly. Adanna follows him through grand doors into a long hallway that smells of incense, polished wood, and something distinctly Korean she can't quite name. Expensive calligraphy scrolls line the walls alongside portraits of stern-faced Kim ancestors, every face carrying the weight of legacy and violence. The guard leads her to a room at the far end of the corridor. He slides the door open, gestures for her to enter, then closes it behind her with a soft click that somehow sounds final. She takes in her surroundings. A sitting room that seamlessly blends Korean and Western aesthetics. Low leather furniture, a modern fireplace, traditional hanji paper screens, and floor-to-ceiling windows showing the storm raging outside. The space feels both intimate and cold. Adanna peels off her damp jacket and runs a hand through her braids. She walks to the window, watching rain hammer against the glass. Tun's car sits barely visible through the downpour, a small anchor to her old life. She's alone now. Trapped inside the house of her family's most dangerous allies, in a country where she'll always be seen as foreign first. Her clothes cling uncomfortably to her skin, soaked through. She notices a door leading to what appears to be a private bathroom. Adanna hesitates, then decides she can't sit in wet clothes for however long this storm lasts. The bathroom gleams with heated floors and a rainfall shower. And there, draped over a bamboo rack, hangs a silk robe. Deep burgundy, embroidered with subtle gold patterns. It looks expensive, pristine, like it's been waiting for someone. Adanna strips off her wet dress, wringing it out before hanging it to dry. She slides into the robe, the silk feeling sinfully soft against her brown skin. The color makes her look regal, powerful, like royalty from some forgotten kingdom. She stares at her reflection in the mirror. The girl looking back doesn't seem like the invisible Okafor daughter anymore. She looks like someone else entirely. Adanna takes a breath and walks back into the sitting room. Then it freezes completely. Her heart stops. There, sitting like a king of shadows in the dimly lit room, sprawls Min-jae Kim himself. He sits on the low sofa with one leg crossed elegantly over the other, a tablet resting in his hands. Everything about him screams danger dressed in casual grace. Sharp eyes that miss nothing. A face so perfectly sculpted it seems almost unfair. Black hair swept back, revealing a jawline that could cut glass. Authority radiates from him like heat from flames. The storm howls outside the windows. Inside, silence roars louder. If you're loving this story so far, hit that subscribe button right now because what happens next will blow your mind. Min-jae looks up from his tablet slowly, deliberately. His eyes lock onto hers, and a slow, dangerous smile spreads across his face. Well, he says in perfect English, his voice smooth as aged whiskey. Hello there, Adanna. He sets the tablet aside without breaking eye contact, the movement precise and controlled. Then he rises from the sofa in one fluid motion, like a predator who's just spotted prey. Every inch of him radiates power. Darkness. Danger wrapped in a designer suit that probably costs more than most people earn in a year. Adanna takes a step back, instinct screaming at her to run even though her body floods with heat she doesn't want to acknowledge. Min-jae keeps coming, closing the distance between them with measured steps. She backs up again. Then again. Until her spine hits the wall with nowhere left to go. He stops just inches away, close enough that she smells his cologne, something expensive and distinctly masculine, close enough that his presence alone steals the air from her lungs. His eyes drag slowly down her body, pausing deliberately at the knot holding her robe closed. His tongue touches the corner of his mouth. That dangerous smile deepens. Didn't know the Okafors walked around wearing nothing but my family's colors, Min-jae says, his voice dropping lower. You wear it so well, Adanna. Almost like you want to be unwrapped. Her lips part but no sound comes out. Her name on his tongue, pronounced perfectly with the right Igbo inflection, sounds like a promise and a threat tangled together. He leans in, one hand pressing against the wall beside her head, caging her in completely. You know, I've eliminated 3 threats today for far less than looking at me the wrong way. But you, he pauses, his breath brushing her ear, you walk into my home, drip rainwater on my floor, and wear my robe like you belong here. He pulls back just enough to meet her wide eyes, and Adanna sees something dangerous swimming in those dark depths. Something calculated and unhinged at the same time. What should I do with you, Ne Sarung? He asks, mixing Korean endearment with casual menace. Let you go back to your perfect little life, or make you scream so loud these walls forget your name? His smile doesn't match the threat threading through his tone. That's what makes him terrifying. The control. The sense that he operates by rules no one else understands. Adanna finally finds her voice, though it comes out shakier than she wants. I came to deliver an envelope. That's all. That's all? Min-jae repeats, amusement flickering across his features. You think I believe that? He reaches toward the belt of her robe. Adanna's breath stops completely. His fingers hover there for one endless moment. Then he chuckles darkly and steps back like nothing happened, like he hadn't just threatened to destroy her in the most sinful way imaginable. Relax, he says with a smirk that somehow makes everything worse. If I wanted you bare and begging, you'd already be there. Before Adanna can process what's happening, Min-jae's hand slips inside his pocket. The movement is smooth, practiced, deadly. Cold steel flashes in the dim light as he pulls out a switchblade, the kind banned in most countries. The blade gleams like a promise of violence. He presses it gently but unmistakably against her throat. Adanna's entire body goes rigid. Every muscle freezes. One wrong move, one breath too deep, and that razor edge slices through skin. Her pulse hammers against the blade's pressure. For a heartbeat, the world shrinks to just the whisper of cold metal and the thundering of her terrified heart. Her eyes squeeze shut. She expects the worst. The ruthless slice. The sharp, cruel finality. This is how she dies, in a burgundy robe in the house of the man she stupidly fell for. But then something unexpected happens. Something warm and soft grazes the sensitive skin of her neck. Not the blade. His lips. A brief, possessive kiss against her throat that contradicts everything about the knife pressed there. Adanna doesn't dare open her eyes. She feels him lean closer, his voice vibrating against her ear, switching seamlessly to Korean then back to English. You made a mistake coming here, Adanna Okafor, Min-jae whispers. I won't let you go easily. He pulls back, removing the knife. Adanna's eyes flutter open to find him studying her with an intensity that makes her knees weak. Min-jae walks to the window, looking out at the storm. Lightning illuminates his profile, sharp and merciless. Do you know why I agreed to this marriage? Adanna's voice comes out barely above a whisper. You're marrying my sister. He turns slowly, something dark and possessive burning in his eyes. I'm marrying an Okafor. That was the deal. But I never specified which one. Her heart stops. What? Min-jae reaches inside his jacket and pulls out a photograph. He holds it up for her to see. Adanna's blood runs cold. It's her. Training in the underground gym. The photo was taken months ago, maybe longer. She never knew anyone was watching. You've been watching me? The words come out strangled. For 3 years, Min-jae says matter-of-factly, like surveillance is perfectly normal. Since the night you killed that traitor in your father's compound. You were 16 years old. You didn't hesitate, didn't flinch. You drove your blade into his throat and watched him bleed out with those beautiful brown eyes completely cold. Adanna's mind reels. That night. She'd thought no one saw her slip into the gardens, thought no one witnessed her first kill. But he had been there, watching from the shadows of a cross-continental alliance meeting. I was there, Min-jae continues, moving closer again. Hidden in the darkness. Watching. And I knew right then that you weren't the quiet sister. You were the deadly one. He stops directly in front of her, close enough to touch. Chisom is a porcelain doll. Beautiful, breakable, boring. She'll smile for the cameras and host charity galas and never once get her hands dirty. His hand lifts, fingers brushing one of her braids. The gesture feels impossibly intimate. But you're fire and fury wrapped in silk. You think I didn't see the way you looked at me at the last family gathering? The way you disappeared the moment I walked into the room? I don't know what you're talking about, Adanna lies, but her voice betrays her. Jinmul, Min-jae whispers the Korean word for liar, and there's something almost affectionate in the accusation. He grabs her wrist suddenly, pulling her flush against him. Adanna gasps at the contact, at the solid heat of his body pressed to hers. That envelope your mother sent? It's a contract. Final terms of the alliance. Once my father signs it, tomorrow's wedding is locked in stone. He pauses, his eyes searching hers. Unless something happens to the bride before then. Adanna's blood turns to ice. You wouldn't. I wouldn't, Min-jae cuts her off. But someone might. The implication hangs in the air like poison. Before Adanna can respond, the door slides open abruptly. A Kim family guard rushes in, his face pale. Dorian Nim. Urgent call from the Okafor estate. Min-jae releases Adanna immediately, his entire demeanor shifting to cold efficiency. He takes the phone the guard offers, pressing it to his ear. He listens, his expression unreadable, occasionally responding in rapid Korean. Adanna watches his face change. Shock flickers across his features, then something darker, more calculating. He lowers the phone slowly, his eyes finding hers across the room. Your sister Chisom, he says quietly, switching back to English. She's been shot. Someone ambushed her car 20 minutes ago in Itaewon. The world tilts violently. Adanna grabs the back of a chair to steady herself. Is she? She's alive. Critical condition. They're rushing her to Samsung Medical Center now. Min-jae steps closer, and his voice drops to something almost gentle. The wedding is tomorrow, Adanna. Both families have traveled from Nigeria and across Korea. Contracts are signed. Alliances depend on this union. He stops directly in front of her, and she sees it then. The truth she's been too blind to see. Congratulations, Min-jae says, reaching out to tilt her chin up with one finger. You're about to become a Kim. Adanna's mind spins. Horror, confusion, and something else she refuses to name all war inside her chest. This is insane. I can't just. You can, and you will. Min-jae's voice hardens. Your family needs this alliance. My family needs this alliance. One Okafor bride is as good as another in the eyes of our world. But Chisom will recover or she won't. Either way, tomorrow's ceremony proceeds as planned. He leans in close enough that his lips brush her ear. I've wanted you since the moment I saw you kill without hesitation. Tomorrow, you become mine. Officially. Thunder crashes outside, shaking the windows. Lightning illuminates them both, predator and prey frozen in this impossible moment. Adanna's voice comes out stronger than she feels. And if I refuse? Min-jae smiles, slow and dangerous. Then your family loses everything they've worked decades to build in Korea. Your father's empire crumbles. The Okafors become targets for every rival family in Seoul and Lagos. He pauses. All because you were too afraid to take what you've wanted all along. He extends his hand to her, palm up. An offer. A threat. A promise that crosses continents and cultures. Welcome to your new life, Mrs. Kim. Adanna stares at his hand. At the man who's haunted her thoughts for 3 years. At the impossible choice that isn't really a choice at all. Outside, the soul storm rages harder. Inside, everything Adanna thought she knew shatters like glass. She takes his hand. And seals her fate. If you made it to the end of this story, drop a comment telling me if Adanna made the right choice. Should she have refused? What do you think really happened to Chisom? And don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe because part 2 is coming soon, and trust me, you won't believe where this dark Afro-Korean romance goes next. The wedding, the secrets, the blood that's about to be spilled, and the cultural collision that changes everything. This is only the beginning.